Most e-com brands are burning through cash on Google Ads and they don't even know it. Here's what's really happening. They're lumping their branded traffic in alongside their cold traffic, and that's costing them thousands every single month. Why? Because branded searches are your easiest money. These are people who already know your brand and are ready to buy now. But if your branded campaigns aren't set up correctly, you're paying 3 to 5 times more than you should be for these sales. I've helped over 100 e-commerce brands scale more profitably using Google Ads campaign setups that actually work in 2025. And I'm about to show you a crucial part of our system that saves hundreds of thousands in wasted ad spend. In this video, I'll walk you through how to properly set up a branded search campaign step by step, so you can protect your brand, slash your costs, and boost your ROAS by 400 to 500%. So let's get into it. Right, let's start with the basics because I guarantee 70% of brands are doing this wrong. A brand campaign is simply a Google Ads campaign that targets searches for your business name. So that's any terms related to your brand. So if you're Nike, that's Nike, Nike shoes, Nike running, Nike running shoes for women, anything like that, you get the idea. Now, here's what's crucial to understand, and this is where most people get it twisted. People searching for your brand name aren't necessarily existing customers. They could be somebody who saw your ad on Facebook last week and is now researching you. They could be a person whose mate recommended you at their run club. They could be someone who heard you mentioned in a podcast or in a YouTube video review, or simply they could be a potential customer that's comparing you directly with your competitors. The point is, somewhere in their journey, they've heard of you through your marketing efforts or through word of mouth. Now they're actively searching for you specifically. Brand campaigns are completely different from non-brand campaigns, where you're targeting things like best creatine supplement or noise cancelling headphones. Those are discovery campaigns. People don't know that you exist yet. Brand campaigns are about capturing people who already know your name, and they're looking specifically for you. The intent level is completely different because someone searching for running shoes is still exploring their options. But someone searching Nike Pegasus 41, black color, size 10, they already know what they want and they're looking for that exact product. And that's why branded traffic converts 10 to 15 times better than generic traffic, because those shoppers have already made their decision. Here's something that is going to blow your mind. Even if you have the #1 organic ranking for your brand name, you're probably only getting about 25% of the total clicks. You're probably thinking, but I'm getting the #1 ranking organically. That's surely enough. Wrong. These are 3 massive reasons why you need a brand campaign. And if you ignore these, you're basically handing money to your competitors. Reason #1, paid ads appear above organic results. So even your #1 organic ranking can end up below the fold, especially on mobile. And your competitors know this. They're bidding on your brand name to steal that prime real estate. Look at this. I searched Nike running shoes for women, and you can see the sponsored products. Here's one from Nike. There, it's a shopping listing. And look at all these from competitors. And all these competitors are running sale and are much more eye-catching than this Nike listing. And I can guarantee you, even the big players like Nike are losing traffic to their competitors or their resellers because of this. And even if competitors aren't doing this intentionally, which many of them aren't, what I'm actually seeing, especially with Performance Max, are brands targeting competitor terms and they don't even know that they're targeting them. So if you're on the receiving end of this, they're literally stealing customers while you're sleeping. If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. Reason #2 to run a brand campaign. Basically, it's your best defense. You've already invested thousands in building awareness. You're probably on Facebook, you might be on TikTok, Pinterest, Snapchat, everywhere else. You might be posting organically. So you've all this content, all these social ads, this word of mouth. And then when someone searches your brand name, that's the warmest traffic that you'll ever get. So don't risk losing them to a competitor's ad that promises something like better prices or faster shipping. You've done all the work to get them there and then you lose them at the final hurdle. And the third reason, and nobody thinks about this, you control the destination. So you can run branded traffic to product bundles, to boost your AOV, or you can run it to your limited time promotions, or you can highlight your clearance offers. You've earned this attention. So now what you want to do is make sure that you're converting it at the highest possible value. Because here's the reality check. I've seen businesses lose up to 50% of their brand traffic to competitors simply because they thought, oh, well, those customers are going to find us anyway. That's not how it works in 2025. The search results are more competitive than ever. And if you're not protecting your brand, someone else will profit from your marketing efforts. And look at this as well. Ads now are not even being labeled as ads by Google. They're being called sponsored results, and they're going under the radar. Customers don't even know they're clicking on ads right now. So it's much easier for competitors to come in and steal that traffic away from you. Don't let it happen. Before I dive into the setup, if you want the complete document I'm walking through today, including all campaign settings, keyword types, and optimization checklists for your brand campaigns, click the link below the video now. This isn't some basic PDF. It's the exact playbook my team uses for clients paying us thousands every single month. So grab it while it's still free. Look, while running branded campaigns is nearly always a must, there's one exception. If no competitors are bidding on your brand name, you might be able to pause your brand campaigns at least temporarily. So you can check this inside an auction insights in Google Ads. And if the report shows no competitors appearing in auctions for your brand terms, it's a sign that your traffic is currently safe from poaching. But here's the thing, it's not a set and forget situation. Competitors can enter at any time, or existing competitors might start bidding on your brand name again. But I always make one other caveat. If you're new to Google Ads, and even if you see no competitors at all, I still think it's wise to run branded traffic. Why? Because it feeds the algorithm with high quality conversion data, which improves performance across all of your campaigns. So essentially, branded traffic helps the system learn what hot buyers look like. And I feel like this has a rising tide effect on all of your other campaigns. So I find you expedite learning processes, particularly for new accounts when you do this. So bottom line is, if you've no competitors, you can potentially pause. But if you're a new account, you should always run branded search. At least that's my opinion. And that's what I see work best for our clients. So now that I've run through who should and who shouldn't be running branded traffic, I'm going to get right into each intricate setting that you should have if you want the perfect brand campaign. But first, a real example of what these settings actually achieve. And I'm just going to fly through this. This is from 4.86x ROAS to 15.87 ROAS in 8 weeks. This client came into us, they were overspending on their brand. ROAS 4.86. Cost, spending about $600 per week on their brand campaigns. So about $2,500 per month on their brand campaign. Average CPC was $1.88. So we went all the way up here. We came in, we implemented a few changes. I'm going to discuss them shortly. And once we got to the start of April this year, which was about 8 weeks later, look at the numbers now. ROAS up to 15.87. And conversions, the total number of conversions, we actually increased that. So we went from about 33, 34 conversions, I believe, up to 51 conversions per week on our branded traffic. So we were able to capture even more branded traffic. And look at this, cost $289. So what did I say it was? $615, now $289 per week. So we're saving about $300, $350 a week. And that's money that we can reinvest into campaigns to go out and find new customers. That's what it's all about. And look at that average CPC, down from $1.88 down to 73 cents. It's a massive difference, and it was just a few quick and smart changes we made to make it happen. So what were they? Well, here's the campaign setup. So obviously our campaign objective, that's going to be sales, all right? We are going to make sure we're using our conversion goal of purchases, and then we are going to run a search campaign, obviously. Select the ways you'd like to reach your goal. Well, we're going to say website visits. For this example, I'm going to say that we're Nike, and we are running traffic to www.nike.com. And our campaign name, I'm going to just call it branded search, and the country we're going to advertise in, which is the USA. The bidding setting that I want to use, we can't actually select it from the start. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave these bidding settings unchanged for now, and then come back to it at the end. Our campaign settings then, I tend to toggle off search partners and always display network. You can decide on branded traffic to turn this on. It doesn't make a massive difference. Just keep an eye on it if you're spending a lot. Generally, it's not a great place to be serving ads. And select your desired location. And our desired location here is United States. We're going to see what our reach is, 323 million people. And then we're going to toggle down on location options. By default, this is set to presence or interest. So people regularly in, or who've shown an interest in your included locations. And you can see Google recommends this option. Now, why did they recommend it? Well, it increases the size of the group that you can target, because it's not just people in the United States. We will be showing ads to people who have an interest in the United States. Now, I have a firm interest in the United States. We work closely with dozens of brands in the United States. So I would be classed as a person who had interest in the United States. But if you're an e-commerce brand and you don't ship worldwide and you only ship in the US, and you think you're running a campaign in the US, but you're serving ads to me, you're wasting money. So always set it to presence only. Next up, your language. Obviously, we're going to choose English. This is coming up now. Are you serving EU political ads? So this campaign is not serving EU political ads. Then the next thing that we're going to want to potentially do is add our audience segments. So some things that we like to add some in-market audiences, our first-party lists, but we always add these on observation. And the reason for that is we get to have a look at where these people who are converting on our brand name lie when it comes to either being existing customers or being people in market for other products or affinity segments. We can learn a little bit more about these people, but you don't have to add any audiences whatsoever, and certainly do not add audiences on targeting. We want to capture anyone and everyone who's searching for our brand name, so we don't need to target audiences because we're targeting keywords. Really important. And you can keep the rest of the settings the same. Next up, you'll be asked, do you want to optimize with AI Max? So that's a whole new video. It's not going to be discussed today, but we definitely don't want to use AI Max for our branded campaigns. Keyword and asset auto generation. Once again, skipping this, we're going to choose our own keywords. We're going to choose our own assets. So just click on skip and go past that. Keywords is next. What I like to do is go for exact match on all variations of branded terms. And then generally I'll add phrase match on my core brand term. So what does that look like? Well, for exact match, that is these brackets here. Okay, so your square brackets. So this is not an exhaustive list. I would have far more keywords here, but you could have Nike, Nike online store, Nike running, Nike official, Nike shoes. And then my phrase match that I'm going to add is Nike, my core brand term. And the reason I'm going to add that on phrase match is that basically any term that contains Nike is now going to be triggered in my campaign. So what I'll do over time, I'll look through my search terms to see what queries this particular keyword is triggering. And then if I find something that's converting regularly, well, then I add it back as an exact match keyword. And this way we don't lose out on any traffic that actually is searching for our brand. For the ad itself, now this is where you have most opportunity to go beyond the scope of my recommendations. Now, of course, anyone and everyone is free to go beyond my recommendations. They are just recommendations, but I feel like this is where you have a good opportunity to test things like bid strategies, general campaign settings. These are tried and tested methods from us with our clients. We see them work incredibly well across our portfolio, and we also see them work incredibly well across the space when we speak with other advertisers as well. But when it comes to ad copy, it's much more specific to the nuances of your business. But I will give you some principles to follow. The first is that I always like to add the brand name in headline 1. So I pin it in headline 1. So here, for example, I would have Nike official store. The reason I want to do that is, once again, in those sponsored ads, right? It's very easy for competitors to hide in amongst those and steal your traffic. Now, we know if someone's searching for our brand, they want to find us. They're looking for us. So we have to tell them that they're in the right place. So the reason that I always include brand name in pinned headline 1 is to tell people they're in the right place. Then for headline 2 and 3, I think this is where you have the most opportunity to mix things up. So I like social proof. I like any sort of offers, any guarantees, clear value propositions, things that are going to get those prospective customers to buy. So you're building social proof, okay? Because ideally, this is going to be one of several touch points along the checkout funnel. They're going to click on our branded search. They're going to land on a page. They're going to pick a product. They're going to add to cart. They're going to go to their cart. They're going to check out. There's so many opportunities here to hit them with clear social proof, guarantees, value propositions. So you want to be doing that right from the get-go when it comes to your search campaign. For descriptions, again, I just like to keep this nice and simple, small bit about us as a brand, our value proposition, and once again, make it offer focused. Offer, guarantee, social proof. These are the three things I focus on when it comes to brand copy. Next, you're going to have some other assets. So I would always include some images, some plain product focus imagery, ideally lifestyle. Don't have any like product flat lay. It doesn't do. Don't use any product flat lay. It's not very nice. It's not very eye catching. And generally I don't use any text overlay, something just very simple. The next is your business name and logo. Just add those, very straightforward. There's nothing fancy about it. Just have them there. So next up are site links. So here's an example from Nike themselves. This is a Nike ad. So you can see they have followed my recommendation of including their brand name in their first pinned headline. They have some call outs here, but I want to focus on their site links. So site links are specific links that are going to take the user through to certain page types. So I've searched for Nike shoes here. So this is the landing page of the ad. But then again, I can be taken directly to Nike shoes, any new releases, classic and iconic styles, or the latest Nike styles. These are all going to take me to different landing pages. And that's the beauty of site links. So when it comes to site links, I generally aim for 6. So your hero product, bestsellers page, category 1, category 2, a reviews page. And then if you have a sale or a promotion on, send traffic there as well. Google will mix and match. Sometimes it'll show 4, sometimes it won't show any, but give it 6 and over time it will start to learn which are performing best. Callouts then are next. So I showed you those. They're small snippets of text. They're about 25 characters long. Again, these are not going to always appear, but they might appear just after your descriptions. It's another good way of getting some more social proof in, some guarantees, product specifications, but also CTAs. So shop all styles, shop now, buy now. These are really good things to include in your call out. So encourage action. And that goes for any search campaign. You have to encourage specific action. And the last thing are promotions. So if you have an evergreen promo, even if you're not running something at the moment, I know for a lot of people, obviously it's Black Friday very soon and you will have a promotion on, and that's fantastic. And you should include those in all of your campaigns. But quite often you won't have an active promotion on. So what might be good is to have a first customer promotion. So subscribe and save, or 20% off over X, or free shipping over X. These are things you can include kind of creatively when it comes to evergreen promotions. Next up is budget. Again, there's nuance to this, but I generally aim for 10% of total budget to be dedicated to branded traffic. I don't want a Google Ads account that's all about branded traffic, because Google, we want to use it to go out and find new customers, people who are searching for product category. This is brand defense. Not really part of the funnel. We want to use Google for a more full funnel marketing effort for your brand. Now, remember what I said earlier. I said that we would have to come back and change our bid strategy. So that's what we're going to do now. So once our campaign is published, we're going to go to campaign settings and we're going to change our bid strategy. So we're going to change our bid strategy to manual CPC. Manual CPC is where we set the maximum amount that we're willing to pay for an individual click. So there's no exact science, particularly if you're just starting out with a brand campaign. If you have used brand campaigns previously, you can look at your historical average CPC, and that gives you a good indication of where to set your entry point. But if you're new, generally $1 to $2, you can go more conservatively and you can increase it, or you can start more aggressively and bring it back. But you just need to land on somewhere. I generally say to people about $1, this is US dollar, is a good place to start, but it depends on the level of competition on your brand name. So once you actually change to manual CPC in settings, you then go back to your ad group and change the amount of your manual CPC. So if you go here, this is our ad group. By default, it will be set to 1 cent. So what we can do here is actually set it to something like $2 or $1, and that will set it for all keywords by default to that maximum CPC. Then our ongoing optimizations. So every week to 2 weeks, and particularly more often if you have a lot of search traffic on your brand name, or if this is a new campaign, I always say do it more frequently. But review your search term report. So add negative keywords for terms that you don't want to serve ads for. So if someone says Nike returns, okay, we want them to get to our website and we want them to have a positive returns experience, but we don't want to pay for the privilege of getting them back to our website to do that. Customer service or careers, things like that. So review your search terms, You can always add these negative keywords from the outset if you can think of terms that you never want to show for, but review your terms. If you see something you don't like, add it back as a negative keyword to stop you paying money for that particular term again. The next thing that you're going to want to do is check your search impression share. So search impression share, how many times we served an ad when we could have served an ad. If this is low, and when I say low, I mean less than 80%, because in my opinion, if you're running branded traffic, you want to capture as much branded traffic as you can. So it's a binary yes, no. You either want to run it or you don't. If you want to run it, you want to run it correctly and you want to capture it all. That's my opinion. So if it's less than 80%, you might have to increase your bids. So you might have to go, okay, we were at $1, we were capturing 60% of the queries. Well, why don't we increase it to $1.20 so we can capture 80%? And okay, we're only at $1.20 now and we're only capturing 72%. Let's take it up again to $1.30, $1.40, and gradually find your sweet spot where you're capturing the most amount of traffic but not overpaying. Now, there comes a point for a lot of brands around 85, 90%, where that additional 5 or 10% is really expensive to capture. And if that's the case, you can leave it go. It is okay. I know I said it's a binary yes or no, but within reason. If you're paying over the odds in your branded traffic, then sometimes it is okay to let it go. But you need to take a look at your auction insights. What's your overlap rate with certain competitors? Who's involved in the auction? Who's competing on your brand name? These are the things you need to check regularly. And then you also need to look at ad copy. So not only how your own ad copy is performing, but what ad copy your competitors are using. Because quite often, if a competitor is actually actively going after your traffic, your brand traffic, they're going to position themselves in a light that is, I won't say derogatory to you, but they will try to one-up you in some shape or form. So it could be that their quality, they perceive it to be better than yours, their reviews, their guarantee, there will be something that they're playing on. So if you see that, you then need to respond. So you need to be changing your ad copy. So review your own performance when it comes to ad copy, but also look at what competitors are doing. And most importantly, and there's a reason I saved this till last, because this, in my opinion, is the most important tip. And if you've gotten through the video, I think you deserve to hear it right now. And that is exclude branded traffic from all other campaigns. So that's non-branded search, non-branded shopping, performance max campaigns. Why? Because you want to have all of your branded traffic in a dedicated campaign. And then the rest of your campaigns, their job is to capture non-branded traffic. So when you don't have that big mix up, you can see what your non-branded campaigns are actually performing like. They can get better at finding non-branded conversions because they're not like relying on branded traffic to get them to their target ROAS, and you're giving them kind of bad habits. It's almost like training a dog or a child. So you don't want to do that. It's so important. I can't stress it enough. I'm going to be making so many more videos about that. And there's actually so many videos I have ready to go where a case study started just like that by us going, okay, we need to remove branded traffic from all of these campaigns and we need to have a dedicated branded search campaign. And I can't stress to you enough how profound of an effect it makes on a business, because you actually get to see the effect of your full funnel. It's one of the reasons why people have this fallacy that Google never works. And I bang my head against the table when I hear that, because I know for a fact the vast majority of people aren't doing this. Google is untouched in most e-commerce brands. It frustrates the life out of me. But again, that's my rant and that's for another video. So I know earlier I showed how we went from like a 4.8 to 15.8x ROAS, where we decrease spend, we increase conversion, we decrease the cost per click, and we were able to reinvest that ad spend into non-branded terms and get new customers, ultimately the goal of any business. But the general results we see across the entire client portfolio looks like this. When we follow this setup, so if we come in and this brand that we just start working with is not following our branded setup and we implement our branded campaign setup, CTR increases 30 to 50%, CPCs drop 50 to 80%, and conversion rate is 5 to 10 times higher. Now, you might say, okay, how is conversion rate higher? I get click-through rate and I get CPCs. You've kind of explained that. How is conversion rate higher? Well, remember I told you it's all about building proof throughout the funnel? Well, we're doing that in our search campaigns, even for our brand. And we're noticing it has a profound effect on conversion rate, believe it or not. So as I said, this setup saves you ad spend that you can invest in finding new customers, period. That is what it's all about. Look, if people are searching for your brand name and you're not currently running a brand campaign, you're essentially giving your competitors a free shot at your hottest traffic. The setup I've shown you today will not only protect your brand, it'll capture that high intent traffic and give you complete control over your most valuable keywords. It's not glamorous, it's not sexy, but it's absolutely essential. And now, luckily for you, you know how to set up a branded shopping campaign that delivers profitable results. But that's just one part of a bigger system. If you want to scale your store beyond branded search and start attracting new customers with high converting campaigns, check out the link below and book a free strategy call with me and my team. We'll help you set up a complete Google ad structure that actually scales. And right after that, check out this video on how to choose the best keyword match types in Google Ads.